Are you freaking stupid, Colin? Are you stupid? What planet are you on? Hi, I'm back with another Bridgerton video. If you guys have absolutely no idea what I'm talking about, I did a video or two videos on part 1 of season 3 of Bridgerton, so I would suggest going and checking those out if you haven't seen them already. But yes, I have done 2 videos on part 1 because I wasn't quite happy with the first one, so I made another one. And now we are going to be talking about part 2, the finale of season 3. Of course, you may not be surprised, I have thoughts. So I think how I'm going to lay out this video is to go into things I liked firstly, and then go into things that I disliked after, you know? But anyways, let's just get into this, you know what I mean? We're gonna start off with the things I liked firstly. Like, oh my god, I don't even have the words. Like, I just have to speak about this first because this is the literally, like, oh my god, I can't even speak. The literal best thing ever, in my opinion, that I just have to speak about. Is the, like, my favorite, what is going on? My most favorite thing that happened in this season, I think. Yeah, it must be. It is. And I know it's like controversial because I think I've said in the previous videos, I have not read the series. So I have seen like some people obviously annoyed about this. So I can understand where they're coming from because I also am a reader. So like if I read something first and then they change it in the show, like I would probably myself be like maybe a bit annoyed about it. But since I haven't read the books, like I have a different like perspective, you know, I just see like the characters in the show and like how I perceive them. And you guys probably know what I'm away to say and who I'm talking about. It's Benedict. It's Benedict. And I don't know if I said it in my previous 2 videos because in my first video I had a whole section on Benedict, but then I cut it out because the video was going to be too long. So I remember saying it when I was filming, but I don't actually know if I like have left it in or if it's in the other video. I've just made too many videos. I have no idea. I can't remember. But basically I said that they need to make him bisexual because ever since season 1, I honestly thought him and that artist man in season 1 were going to like be in a relationship or like make out and stuff, and then they didn't. And I don't know, Benedict's character in the show has always just like served me with the vibes that he's into guys and girls. See, like he likes both. And so I have literally been waiting or praying. I have literally been like, oh my gosh, please let him kiss a guy. So finally, he has literally had a threesome. Yes. So I know some people are not going to like this because I think he's supposed to be with someone called Sophie or something in the books. I don't know if that's right. But like him being bisexual, I don't think changes that because he obviously is into Tilly, who's a woman, and he's into Paul, which Paul, like, is such a funny name for that time period. It's just like, ooh, Benedict and Violet and Daphne, and then frickin' Paul. It's just funny. But yeah, so, you know what I mean? I'm like, it can still happen. Like, he can obviously still fall in love with this, whoever he's meant to fall in love with in the books, but like, what is wrong with him having a little experimentation? Like, his character in the show is serving that he is meant to be with both guys and girls and have a little fun, you know what I mean? That's what I personally get from the show anyway. So I only have the version of him that's in the show and not the book. So that's just my personal opinion on just watching him from the show. But I honestly didn't think that they were going to do it. Like, I was so shocked. I was like, oh my god, because when Benedict, Tilly and Paul were at the table, they were like sitting across from each other and there was tension. And he was like, call me Benedict. And they were both looking at each other, like Tilly and Paul, like, he's into it. He is into it. And yes, he was. And then they had their threesome because it was literally the best thing ever. That was the best sex scene ever, is their threesome. Thank you. Goodbye. So I Super glad for Benedict here. You guys can let me know your thoughts. Like, I understand, like, if you're a book person, like, I get it. I totally get it. But that was just my, like, opinion from, like, just the show. So yeah. Also, I just have notes here. So I've just written down the things I like. So they're all over the place. This is not going in, like, some, like, sequential order, so it's going to be a bit random. But the next thing I have written down that I really liked is when Colin and Penelope were away to like have sex in episode 5. So they literally, before they even got married, they just had sex, which I don't think we've seen before. Did Kate and Anthony have sex? No, that must be after they got married. Was it? I don't know. But yeah, they had sex. And it was like graphic, like that was a graph, like I skipped it. Not gonna lie, I skipped it. I was just, no, it's too much for me. Like, to be fair, I skipped Daphne and Simon. That, like, I like reading about smut in books, but like when it's on the telly and you're seeing like their faces, like they're actually doing it, I'm like, I don't want to see that. I don't want to see someone's actual sex face because no one looks good. So I don't want to see it. But I did appreciate Colin telling her, because obviously those girls have no idea what, like, you have to have sex. Like, they don't know what that is. So I really appreciate how Colin told her, like, that it was gonna hurt. But I thought it was hilarious because they were, like, fooling around doing stuff and she was like, oh, is there more? Like, they haven't even had sex yet. And she, like, thought that was it, that they were done, which I thought was hilarious. But when they were away too, Colin was like, oh, like, this is going to hurt. And, like, was explaining to her, like, how her body would, like, feel, because she has no idea. And he obviously knows from other women, like, that it hurts and stuff. So I appreciate that he told her that and like was preparing her. And previously, as I said in my other videos, I didn't like their relationship. Like, I don't feel their chemistry necessarily. It was just too rushed and I didn't feel it, like, in part 1. But in part 2, honestly, their arguing kind of made their relationship feel more real, because I feel like it was a real moment. Like, before it's been like, oh, ha ha ha, and like it just felt fake and like rushed and I didn't like it at all. But then when they were like having conflict, like, that's what builds your relationship, I guess. So I enjoyed that. Oh yeah, and also Cressida, I really thought that it was good that she like took some initiative. Good for her for, like, even though she's lying, you know what I mean, that she's Whistledown, good for her for standing up and saying, I'm Lady Whistledown, even though it's a lie, because she was going to be getting married to like someone who could have been like her granddad. Like, she was going to be married to some crusty ass old man who she didn't like, and she would have had a horrible ass life where she would have been depressed and stuck in this house having sex with this creepy ass old man. No. So honestly, I was all for her taking the credit, because like Penelope was in a pickle and like, oh my god, I have to tell Colin. There you go, Cressida like saved you, you know what I mean? So in that moment I was like, yes. Like, I don't hate her for doing that. From Cressida's perspective, like, I can totally understand where she's coming from. I would do the same thing if I was faced with like being married off to some creepy old man who like expects you to have like 4 or 5 kids with him. I'm like, babe, good fucking luck, because you'll probably keel over and die before she even has one. Sir, this is wrong. Wrong. The fact that these old men don't see that this is like so wrong, when the woman is clearly like does not want to be with him at all and is being forced into it, like, oh my god, disgusting. Freaking disgusting, okay? I appreciate the balls that she had to stand up in front of that whole room and say that she was Lady Whistledown. Like, honestly, she was trying to get out of a horrible situation, and I feel for her. I really felt bad for her, and honestly, I think that she would have made a good Lady Whistledown. Like, she's like scary. She just like has that like air about her that she's like, move that my way, toe, you know? So I was actually loving her when she was pretending to be Lady Whistledown. I thought that was really cool. So go Cressida. I really enjoyed her there. And also I really enjoyed all of the like deep moments. There was quite a lot of like deep conversations in part 2, which I really enjoyed, especially with Penelope and her mother. Oh my gosh, like, I have a love-hate relationship with Lady Featherington, because like sometimes she's like an absolute cow bag and you're like, oh my god, go away. But then other times I'm like, yes, go, like with that Jack Featherington man. And she was like a boss ass lady. Like, she is like she's always been like in charge of the family. She's like trying to protect her daughters. She wants to be like in society. Like, you know, she's got that ingrained in her brain. Like, I need to be the best. I need to have all this stuff. Like, we need to be tip top. Like, I like her and I don't like her sometimes. Like, you know what I mean? But in part 2, they got this like close relationship, which I really enjoyed. And we really understand like Lady Featherington's like character, who I found out was called Portia. I'm sure did not know that at all. Did not know that. But yeah, we really got to see like how she was raised and like why she does the things she does, because she says she was brought up thinking or being taught that all power like comes from a man. So she wanted like her daughters to get married to men so they're like safe and secure and the man can like have power for them. But like she was a powerful lady. Like even all the stuff she did, I'm like, she was powerful. She did that by herself. I'm glad that she like is proud of like what Penelope accomplished, because she did that by herself, like without a man. Like, ooh, the revelation that women can actually do things without a man like is like crazy that they are taught that. But yeah, I really enjoyed their like close relationship at the end. I thought it was really sweet. I also found it funny, like I like that they have a close relationship now, but I also was loving it in episode 5 when Penelope's mother finds out she's engaged to Colin through Lady Whistledown, and then she's like shouting at Penelope like blah blah blah, the Bridgertons have sullied our name and how can you be marrying this Bridgerton boy, and whatever she was saying. And then like Colin comes in and like hears this conversation and he is like, since we're speaking so freely, Penelope did not entrap me. I love her and she is the most eligible like amongst you all, and you shall not sully our good Bridgerton name. So funny, because he was like, I'm still speaking. She tried to interrupt him and I was like, oh, that was amazing. And now probably also maybe my second favorite thing after Benedict is where they showed the struggle like with Penelope choosing between Lady Whistledown and Colin, and like lying to Colin like about it. At first when Cressida took credit for being Whistledown, I was like, oh my gosh, this is the perfect like opportunity, because I'm like, you don't have to be Whistledown anymore. You don't have to hide it from Colin, and like Eloise is like extorting you, so I'm like, you don't have to tell Colin if you like give up being Whistledown and he'll never find out and it'll be fine. So I was like, yeah, I was like, what are you doing? Like when she was like writing like a next issue of Whistledown like after Cressida like confessed, I was like, what is she doing? I was like, this is a perfect like opportunity. And then like the more I thought about it, I understood like why she couldn't give up being Whistledown. Like even though Colin is her dream, writing is also her dream. Like that's who she is, and she's like gained all of this like infamy and all of this money for herself. Like she's earning money for herself by her writing, which is something she loves to do, and she like created all of this, and to have someone else take credit for that, like I was just thinking about it and I was like, absolutely not. And like, because I was thinking about myself, because I am currently working on a like fantasy book series, because that's always something that I've wanted to do. Like ever since I was little, I've always said I'm writing a series, a fantasy one, because that's my favorite genre and I've always just wanted to write one. So I am, and the thought of if I wrote it and someone else was like taking credit for it, no, absolutely freaking not. But also like, why should she have to give up her dream because of a man? You know what I mean? Like, why do they have to be like mutually exclusive? Like you can either have your dream of Colin, or you can either have your dream of being Whistledown, and you can never be married. It's just, it just made you think, you know what I mean? Because you're just like, oh my god, Penelope, why are you so stupid? Like freaking just give up being Whistledown. Like why does it matter? But then she obviously explained like that she has no power, and it, like lots of the women in that society, and like they just get told what to do. They get dressed up. You have to act a certain way. You can't earn any money. You just have to be born with the money and get a husband who has loads of money, and that's it. Like don't do anything for yourself, or if you do, like it's not important. So yeah, I really enjoyed seeing the like struggle for her, and like making you understand like why she is doing that and doesn't want to give it up. Like it's part of who she is, and I wouldn't be giving up my dream of writing my fantasy series for anyone either. And if someone expected me to give that up, like Colin being like, you need to give this up, why would you be giving up traveling? Like, he loves to travel. Why would you like take away something so important to her? Like, that's who she is. So I actually really resonated with that, because I can understand. The moral of the story is, don't give up your dream for anyone else. If you've got something you really want to do and you've dreamt about it your whole life, or maybe not even your whole life, maybe it's a new dream, honestly, it doesn't matter what people think about it. Like, oh yeah, that's just silly, like you can't do it. Like, I'm sure people are out there that are like, oh yeah, your like dream of writing a book is silly. Why? It's a dream, and it shouldn't always be a dream. You should work for it. You know, if you know you can do it, then just do it. Like, she knew that she could write a column and people would listen, and they did. So if you've got something you want to do, just freaking do it. That's it. That's all I have to say on that. But yeah, I think that's all the things that, obviously I liked part 2 in general. That's just like specific things that I can remember like specifically liking. But there was obviously other moments and stuff that I liked. Like, I liked Francesca and John's little things, but they are also in my things I disliked as well. So like, there's some things I liked and there's some things I disliked, and they're kind of like with the same people. So yes, but I'm sure the things I disliked is what you're here for. So let's go on a little ranty rant and get into the things I disliked. Okay, so let me know if anyone else thought this, but like, season 3 is a season. Like, it should all feel like it mooshes together, and they did it in part 1 and part 2, and genuinely it feels like 2 separate seasons. Like, it feels like 2 separate, like, different vibes. Like, part 1 was weird, weird pacing, just like rushed and weird things going on, and part 2 was like obviously more like near the climax of the story, and it was all like nitty gritty and like stuff going on, but like the atmosphere was like totally different. It was like, you watch part 1 and then you watch part 2 because there's a break. It's not like I'm interested to see if I go back and watch the whole season all together. Like, I just don't think it'll moosh all into one. It feels like 2 very separate things and atmospheres going on. And also, I just really don't understand. I'm just, like, I don't know if I said this in my other videos, but the fact that Lord Depling is in part 1, and then as soon as we're in part 2, like, literally no one mentions his name ever again. It was like he never existed, and he was literally in like the end of episode 4, and that was it. And then no one ever spoke about him ever again. Like, no one asked what happened to him. Like, nothing came from that. Like, you know what I mean? Never mentioned again. And I also find it weird. I'm like, Cressida had chemistry with him, I thought. They were talking about that birds and stuff. Like, they had a thing, and I think she would have been happy with him. So why did he disappear off of the face of the earth and we never heard from him again? It was just weird. Like, he was 100% a plot device for part 1, and then he just disappeared off to the face of the earth, and the other one in it, like, any of his interactions with anyone else didn't matter because his usefulness was like used up, and that was it. So I found that really weird. So yeah, and I think one of my biggest dislikes is that Colin could not figure out that Penelope was Whistledown. Are you serious? Like, that's what was insinuated, and that's what should have been done, in my opinion. Like, as insinuated in part 1, she kept leaving all these clues and saying things about how it would be suspicious if she didn't write about herself. Are you freaking stupid, Colin? Are you stupid? What planet are you on? Like, oh my god, how did he not figure it out? What? I just really annoyed me that he had so much clues, and he could clearly see that he literally said like 10 times, I know there's something you're not telling me. Use your freaking brain, man. Oh my god. Why? Like, couldn't you not figure it out? Like, honestly, they should have done him like slowly putting pieces together and like, oh my gosh, she's not telling me something. Why is Eloise acting like this? Blah, 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 blah. Stuff happening. She's got ink on her fingers. She's acting suspicious. She disappears quite a lot. No, I'll just freaking follow her one night for funsies. And then that's how he discovered that she was Lady Whistledown. Like, even freaking Cressida did a better job. She was going around printers asking blah, blah, blah. She worked out who it was, but freaking Colin didn't work out who it was. I honestly thought it was so anticlimactic. I was like, seriously, he just followed her and that was it. That was how he figured it out. Oh, and also it's so weird because he receives letters from her all the time. Like they're always like pen paling, writing all the time. And the fact that he cannot see any similarity between her writing, which he reads all the time, and Lady Whistledown, it's just like, and the fact that he hated Lady Whistledown so much and he'd never put any effort into like finding out who she was. Yeah, or just like, I didn't understand it at all, and it was just so anticlimactic. I was like, seriously? He followed her, and I was like, oh, like a little bit like, oh, she's busted, but also like, figure it out yourself. That would have been so much better. Oh, and actually, no, I'm like, is this the more annoying thing that I'm annoyed about? So honestly, they're all just annoying. Like, but this one wound me up. The way that Penelope was revealed at the ball. What the hell's the name? Someone in Finch. Someone in Finch's ball. The way that she was revealed as Whistledown, I freaking hate it. I hate it. It was awful. It was so bad. No. Like, what I thought was going to happen was the Queen came in. That was fine. The Queen came in and I was like, oh, like showed up at the ball, and she was like, Lady Whistledown has sent me a letter saying she's going to reveal herself tonight. Okay. That should have been the end of it. But instead it was, it's her, and points at Penelope. No, like why would, no, like no, it should have been, she's going to reveal herself tonight. Big pause. And the Queen doesn't know who she is, but she knows she's going to reveal herself. That's what should have happened. And everyone should have been like, oh my God, she's going to reveal herself. And everyone should have been looking around the room. And then it should have been like a shot from behind Penelope, so she's like walking and it's like dark. You see just her figure going up. You don't see her face, you just see it. And then it should have like done a whole like spin around of her body, and then at the end landed on her and the Queen like staring off against each other and being revealed that it's Penelope to everyone else. Not freaking, it's her. And she like toodles up to the stage like, oh no. Like Lady Whistledown is supposed to be a freaking badass, and Penelope just doesn't serve badass vibes. Like she was like, her facial expression was like, she was like, oh my God, shitting myself. Like she didn't know this was a way to happen. You literally planned this. You literally knew it was a way to happen. Her reaction should have been like, yes, I am Lady Whistledown, and walked up there like slowly and like stared at everyone like a badass. But no, instead she was like, oh, like, no. Oh, I hated it. I hated it so much. And everyone's reaction to when finding out it was her was so rubbish. Like her sisters were okay, actually. They were like, and her mom obviously already knew, but like other people, like their reactions were just like, crap. Yeah, crap, I'm sorry. I hated it. I hated it. It was just disappointing. And the fact that she was just left standing in the middle of the hall and no one went up and been like, oh my God, your Lady Whistledown. And then the night just continued on as if nothing had happened. I just thought it was ridiculous. And also her speech, like, just didn't hit me. Like the other times in private when she was talking about Lady Whistledown, I was like, I understand. But when she was saying her speech in front of everyone, it wasn't like that relatable to other women. I thought it was going to be like directed at other women. Like, do you feel powerless? Do you feel like your life's out of your control? Do you feel like you have to rely on a man? Because that's what they all have to do, and that's why she started Whistledown. She wanted like her own thing, and you should have a life outside of marriage. You're just, the whole purpose is not to be someone's wife. Like, you are a person. You know what I mean? It was just very anticlimactic. It didn't have that like the impact that I think it was supposed to. I was just kind of like, okay, like, you know. And also another thing is that I hate what they did to Cressida. Like, she started blackmailing Penelope, which, fair. She was in a situation, she did what she thought was just going to allow her to be free and not have to go live with her creepy aunt or be married to some weird man. So I understand what she did, but the fact that like that was the end of the story and she just went off to live with her aunt at the end, and like she was some kind of villain and we were all supposed to hate her. But like after what they've shown of her life, I'm like, I don't hate her. I totally understand why she did what she did, and I like wish it had worked out for her. So yeah, I wasn't really a fan of this like yeah, she was like, oh, fine at the start, and then, oh, Eloise turns against her, so now no one likes her, and now she's like blackmailing Penelope. But like, she's not friends with Penelope. She's trying to get herself out of a situation, which would be horrible. So like, getting some money from Penelope is like, she's not caring. And like, I understand it. I can see. So I feel bad for her, and I really don't like that they just made her into this like, oh, evil villainous character that we're all supposed to hate. Yeah, you know, I just wasn't a fan of it. Oh, and then also another thing that I disliked is Francesca. They had their wedding. Also, why did they have their wedding in Bridgerton house? Like, why wasn't it at the church like everyone else? Is it because he doesn't have lots of money or something? I have no idea. But when she kissed him at the wedding, her, like, afterwards, it like cut to a shot of her face, and it was like that she didn't enjoy it. So I'm like, oh my God, did she think she made a mistake? I don't know. And then at the ball, after Penelope like reveals herself as Whistledown, Eloise is like, oh, I want to come to Scotland with you, which I was like, Kilmartin sounds like a Scottish name. I literally thought this whole time, I was like, sounds like a Scottish name, but he isn't Scottish, like he's English. So I'm like, okay. So they're going to live at their like castle in Scotland. Yes, the best if I do say so myself. And then Eloise was like, oh, I want to come to Scotland with you. So she's going. And then John was like, oh, that's fine. My cousin is now here, so this like makes up the party. And then so this woman comes over and she's like, oh, her name is like is it Matilda Sterling or something like that. And then her and Francesca were like the cousin was like, oh, who are you? How do you not know who she is? Like, it's your freaking cousin's wife. And you'd obviously know you're going on a journey home with your cousin and his wife. So it's obviously his wife. So there was like a, ugh, who are you? And then Francesca was like, oh, I'm Francesca. Like, oh, his wife. Like, oh, Kilmartin. Like, what was this atmosphere going on? I'm like, it's his cousin. Like, are they sleeping together? Is that a thing? I'm sure they got married to their cousins in the old days. So I'm like, oh, no, that better not be a thing where she's just got married and he's like off sleeping with his cousin. No, but I did not like her when as soon as she came on screen, no, don't like her at all. So I really hope that's not what they're going to do with Francesca. But it was just really weird and I didn't like it. And then I think the last thing that I noted down, which is fitting because this is the end of the finale, is Penelope changing from being Lady Whistledown to writing under Penelope Bridgerton. No, it just doesn't have the same hit, like, oh, Lady Whistledown's out. Oh no, the next issue of Penelope Bridgerton is out. Yeah, no. I'm just like, ooh, no, I don't think so. I wish she stayed under Whistledown because it's just like the name, it's the brand. And then it changed from the lady who's always voiced Whistledown's voice to Penelope voicing Whistledown. And I'm like, no, see if that's happening in the future, I really don't like it. I'm like, we've gotten used to Whistledown speaking as Whistledown, not Penelope speaking as Whistledown. So yeah, no, not a fan. I hope they change it back. Like, no. But her and Colin did have a baby as well also. So that was fast. But yeah, that was my thoughts on some things that I liked and disliked. I'm sure I've missed out a bunch of stuff, but that's honestly all that I could think of when I was writing down my notes. So yeah, that's my thoughts. Let me know what you guys thought as well. Yeah, I do think part 2 saved it for me because part 1 was just a bit weird. Yeah, I definitely prefer part 2. It was more exciting. There was more like emotional things going on. It made you more invested. So yeah, part 2 is good. I approve. So yeah, I don't know what's going to happen next. I guess it's Eloise and Benedict next. I don't know, but it better be freaking Benedict next. I swear, I love him. I love him. I'm warning you, Netflix. So yeah, but that was my thoughts on part 2, and I hope you guys enjoyed. And like I said, if you haven't seen part 1, you can go watch that and then the one after it. So there's like part 1 and then part 1 and then this. Let me know what you guys thought of this season and with the things that happened. If there's some things you liked, didn't like, let me know in the comments. We can have a little discussion. If you enjoyed, please like and subscribe for more fun times. I think that's all I had to say. So I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.